Michael Joseph Jackson was born on the 29th of August, 1958, at St. Mary's Mercy Hospital in Gary, Indiana to a family of Jehovah's Witnesses. He was the eighth of Catherine and Joe Jackson's 10 children. Jackson's father Joseph was a steel mill worker. On the 1st of January, 1964, Jackson and his brother Marlon joined their older brothers Jackie, Tito, and Jermaine's band, the Jackson Brothers, in the band's first public performance. Jackson was 6 years old. When Jackson was 8, he started being the band's main singer with Jermaine. The group's name then changed to the Jackson 5. The group won an important talent show in 1966. In 1968 they were signed to a famous record label called Motown Records. Their first Motown single I Want You Back was #1 in the US. In 1971, Jackson released his first song singing on his own, Got to Be There, from his album Got to Be There. It reached #4 in the Billboard 100. 3 more singles were released from the album. On the 4th of August, 1972, his second album Ben was released. The single Ben was his first solo #1. In 1974, Jackson hosted the first American Music Awards with Donny Osmond, Rodney, Alan Rippey, and Ricky Segal. In 1975, the Jackson 5 left Motown. They were signed to CBS Records in June 1975. On CBS Records they changed their name to the Jacksons. In 1976, the Jacksons got their own TV show on CBS. The show was cancelled in March 1977. On the 24th of October, 1978, a movie called The Wiz was released. The movie was a remake of The Wizard of Oz with all black actors. Jackson acted as Scarecrow. On the 17th of December 1978, the Jacksons' 12th album was released. It was the first album they had produced. Jackson wrote the album's second single, Shake Your Body Down to the Ground, with Randy Jackson. It reached #7 in the US Hot 100. In December 1978, Jackson started making his first solo album on Epic Records, Off the Wall with Quincy Jones. It was released on the 10th of August, 1979. The album got good reviews, and a Grammy Award for Best Male R&B Vocal Performance. The Jacksons' 13th album Triumph was released 1980. In 1982, Jackson made Somewhere in the Dark for the E.T. soundtrack. It won a Grammy for Best Recording for Children in 1984. That year Jackson won 7 other Grammys for his album Thriller. On the 18th of October 1982, the first single from Thriller, The Girl Is Mine, was released. It was sung with Paul McCartney. Some people thought that the album wasn't going to be very good because of the song. Jackson's 6th solo album Thriller was released on November 30, 1982. Jackson didn't do a tour for the album. This album went on to become the best-selling album of all time. In 1983, Jackson made 3 songs with Freddie Mercury. Somebody's Watching Me, a single by Rockwell with Jackson singing on the chorus, was released the 14th of January, 1984. It reached #1 in Spain and France LB. On the 27th of January, 1984, Michael and other members of the Jacksons filmed a Pepsi-Cola commercial. Michael's hair caught on fire and he was rushed to hospital. Pepsi gave Jackson $1.5 million. He gave it to the Brockman Medical Center in Culver City, California. In May 1984, Farewell My Summer Love, a song that Jackson made in 1973, was released as a single. It reached #7 in the UK singles chart. The Jacksons' album Victory was released on the 2nd of July, 1984. Between July and December 1984, Jackson toured with his brothers. He won 8 awards at the 1984 American Music Awards, the most anyone has ever won at once. He also won Best International Solo Artist and Best International Album at the Brit Awards. Jermaine Jackson released his 10th album, Jermaine Jackson. Michael sang on a song from the album, Tell Me I'm Not Dreaming, Too Good to Be True. It was nominated for Best R&B Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals at the 1985 Grammy Awards. In August 1985, Jackson bought music publisher ATV Music for $47.50 million. They owned the rights to the Beatles. Jackson wrote We Are the World with Lionel Richie in 1985. The song was recorded by USA for Africa. It was released as a single around the world to make money to give to starving people in Africa. It sold over 20 million copies. It also won 4 Grammy Awards. August 1987. Bad was released. Jackson wanted it to sell 100 million copies. It has sold over 45 million copies. 5 of the album's 7 singles were number 1 in the US. They were I Just Can't Stop Loving You, Bad, The Way You Make Me Feel, Man in the Mirror, and Dirty Diana. Until Katy Perry's success with her 2010 album Teenage Dream, Jackson was the only musician to ever have had that many singles from one album be number 1. From September 1987 to January 1989, Jackson did the Bad World Tour. This was the first tour that he did on his own. In 1988, Moonwalk, a book that Jackson wrote about his life, was published. It took Jackson 4 years to write. The book sold 200,000 copies. Jackson then released Moonwalker, a movie he made. In 1989, some video games about the movie were released by US Gold. In 1986, Disneyland and Epcot started showing a short film called Captain EO that had Jackson in it. Jackson sang You Were There at Sammy Davis Jr.'s 60th birthday. He was nominated for an Emmy Award for it. The Jacksons released their last album 2300 Jackson Street in 1989. Michael sung on the album's second single 2300 Jackson Street with his brothers and 2 of their sisters, Janet and Ruby. Michael was also in the music video for the song. Jackson won the Grammy Award for Best Music Video, Short Form in 1989 for Leave Me Alone. Jackson's 8th studio album Dangerous was released November 26, 1991. It was produced with Teddy Riley. It is a new Jack Swing album. It was Jackson's first album to have a rapper on it. 9 singles were released from the album. On the 27th of June, 1992, Jackson started the Dangerous World Tour. All of the money Jackson made from the tour was given to charities such as the Heal the World Foundation. Having grossed $100 million, Jackson performed to 3.5 million people in 70 concerts. The tour was supposed to last until Christmas 1992. However, Jackson ended the tour on November 1, 1993 because he was ill and needed to go to hospital. Jackson performed at the halftime show at Super Bowl in January 1993. History, Past, Present and Future. Book I. Jackson's 9th studio album was released the 16th of July 1995. The album has 2 discs. The first disc is a collection of some of his greatest hits. The second disc is 15 songs recorded in late 1994 and early 1995. 13 of the songs are new. 2 of them are cover versions. In August 1995, the album's single You Are Not Alone became the first single ever to go straight to number 1 in the US. High Story won the Grammy Award for Album of the Year. The video for the single Scream went in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the most expensive short film ever made. In 1996, he started his History World Tour and ended in 1997. Jackson performed 82 concerts in 5 continents, 35 countries and 58 cities to over 4.5 million fans, and grossed a total of $165 million, becoming Jackson's most successful tour in terms of audience figures. Jackson released a short film called Ghosts in 1997. He wrote it with Stephen King. In 1997, Blood on the Dance Floor was released. It is the best-selling remix album ever made. There were 5 new songs on the album. The album's first single was a new song called Blood on the Dance Floor. The album and its first single were number 1 in the UK. Jackson won Artist of the 1980s at the American Music Awards in 2000. On the 30th of October, 2001, Invincible, Jackson's last studio album, was released. The album got good and bad reviews. It was number 1 in 12 countries and sold 13 million copies around the world. but compared to Jackson's earlier albums, it was unsuccessful. The album's first single You Rock My World was nominated for the Grammy Award for Best Male Pop Vocal Performance. Jackson won his 22nd American Music Award for Artist of the Century in 2002. I Wanna. On November 17, 2003, an album called Number Ones was released. It is a collection of Jackson's hits. There is also a new song on the album called One More Chance. It was released as a single. It reached number 1 in 3 countries. The album was released as a DVD too. 2006, Sony released 20 of Jackson's popular singles. In March 2009, Jackson told the press that he was going to do a tour called This Is It. He said that he might stop making music after this. Jackson practiced his singing and dancing for the tour in Los Angeles with Kenny Ortega. Jackson died of an overdose of propofol on the 25th of June, 2009 after having a cardiac arrest, and his personal physician, Conrad Murray, was convicted of involuntary manslaughter.